Hello everyone, it is currently Sunday morning back at RPM Racing. Sorry I haven't gotten posted in a while. It's been a wild turn of events. We had Eastern States. I had a couple powder coater jobs come into place. So it's been real busy and I'm trying to keep up with everything. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of input on what we're doing and how we're preparing ourselves for the off season. As you guys can see, most of the cars don't have motors. We're missing one right here. This is the 2021 car that we recently just put together. It only has 2 races on it. So we're hoping to get that done, and everything's been good with that car. We just had to get the motor dynoed and everything. So we're squaring up on that. And then we're hoping to get a couple more 358 motors so we can run multiple nights next year. And we're really hoping we're going to get a big block. We are sitting down with my car owner and figuring out what we're doing and kind of situate our budget for this year, because as everyone knows with COVID, everything's been really hard to figure out, what that budget is. But other than that, we've just been a lot of powder coating. We're hoping to get this thing fired up today. I can give you guys a quick show. Like I showed that video on paint stripping. A lot of these are right now. This is a friend of mine, his go-kart. Well, he races a flat cart, and I told him let's powder coat it. It might look really cool. So that's what we've been working on. And the same thing is here, all paint stripped. If you look really close, it like starts to flake, and it makes it easier. Because powder coat, like paint, sticks real well if you prepare it real well. So same thing's gonna happen here. Whoever did this, it was probably a while ago, because a lot of these parts have like some rust on them. But we have this really cool disc that we use. It's like a Scotch-Brite wheel. Rather than hand sand it, you put this thing into your seam grinding tool, and like we have a bunch of these. Everyone's using them, and you just sand it off. Same thing, couple spots you're gonna have to hand sand, but we use like 180 in those because it's not gonna come out all the way. It's real confusing to explain unless someone was standing right here, because I'm more of like a hands-on person. I'm sure a lot of people are too, where you have to visually see somebody do it to repeat exactly what they're doing. But I'm hoping that I can teach people in the form of these videos. I mean, the powder coat stuff's real basic too. You have this is your air pressure. This increases, how much powder is going to push out of the gun. And the fluidizer one we don't touch, but the fluidizers for a bigger container, like a 5-gallon container, these are like 1-gallon containers. And that one can powder coat a whole frame. And the voltage changes how much or how hard the powder will stick, and you can buy all this from Eastwood, other companies too. Eastwood, that's who I started out with. That's the company that I use to learn more about, because they post videos like this and explain to you how everything they sell you works, and you don't have to like call and ask so many questions and not understand, and they'll just explain it to you in the form of like a 9-minute video. They have them all up there. You can look them up. And that is what makes me get the money so I can pay for tires and fuel. So I don't really keep that money. I put it right back into the racing and use it to pay for things that we can all use to keep ourselves going throughout the season. Because we get jobs on and off. Winter's going to be our biggest time, because guys are taking cars apart. They might want stuff done. It'll look nicer, and it keeps the car cleaner rather than, over. This one never got powder coated because we had to throw on like a bare metal one, and that's what happens over the course of 13 races. That's what that was. Other than that, I'm gonna hopefully give you guys a little time lapse on me cleaning up this metal, because we got a long ways to go. We might do another bracket. Like we have a bunch of parts here. We put these brackets, basically. This is a new idea that I don't know if Bicknell started to use it yet, but my father showed me how to do it. And basically, you put this right here, usually up to the upper holes, you know, anywhere from the top two or top three. So you can go right here, and then you can put it to the top hole of your short rod mount. And right here, you have room. I mean, then you can't use that hole anymore because of this radius rod. We have Heims on it. Because 8 inch is too long, you really need a 6-inch rod for this, and you cut it, and then you put it in. But that is what we've been using to structurally support the Panhard mount on the outboard, because the outboard usually on a Bicknell will break up here, not down there. That down there, I've heard TOs break down there, and it's not the fabricator's fault. It's the chassis got so much movement in it going through the corner. Like when the car picks up, it's a violent force that the car is going through, and you can't avoid it. All you can do is try to support the components that are taking the most abuse with more structure. So we've done that. We're trying to make a couple other cool brackets, but all these brackets, it just gives us something else to powder coat to make the car look, you know, different, with different colors. This was more blue, that car. This car needs to get powder coat like soon, but it's just, I don't know. It's a lot of different work, and it teaches me a lot of different things and a lot of lessons. A lot of this stuff in here is patience, and it's something as a 16-year-old I need to learn. I'm still learning it. No one's going to be perfect at it, especially at this age. And you can always be better at something in life. You can never, you know, always be the greatest. There's always something new to learn. But other than that, we've been prepping for the off season. These all have to go into storage, and I have to figure out where we're putting them, because outside right now, there's both trailers are out there, and that smaller one we'll probably end up using to go to the valley next Sunday and sell a bunch of parts. And if anybody who watches my videos knows who I am, just comment, and you can come up here, and I have like torsion bar stuff, because I don't run torsion bars anymore. I run coils. I'm sure there's a couple people that still run torsion bars, and I have a lot of new components to that. Bird cages. I have brand new bars. I know that people don't like buying bars even if they're new, because when they sit, I guess like the ratio changes. It's, you know, Bicknell makes it real confusing. And I know they also have a bunch. I also have a bunch of old springs, like straight springs. I use barreled springs now. So if anybody wants any straight springs, I can bring them to the track. I have a bunch of those. And I also have a bunch of steel body Fox shocks like this. So if anybody wants any of them, I have, I think, 12 left. So they're all new. Just if you want to revalve them for your Sportsman or big block. I don't know what people would use them for now. I know Sportsmans have to strictly run steel bodies. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know. And then just preparing for the off season. That's where it's all been. I don't think there's much left to show you guys at the moment, other than this car is going to get cleaned off and get sold. So if anybody's looking for, I believe, I don't know the information, so no one hold me to it. I believe it's a 360. So no one hold me to that, but that motor is something we use, like Accord, Afton, 5 Mile Point. Anything that's 3/8 of a mile and smaller, that car is really, really good. It's a 2013, I believe the frame is, but it's like a one-off. It's got a 3-inch Dre's nose. But what never made sense to me scaling that car is the weight is heavier. Or no, I'm sorry, the weight has so much weight off the left rear. Like the load is so significant, because I guess they made the steel weigh more in the left rear corner. You have to put a 75-pound weight either in the center or to the right front of the car. because the car is going to want to pick up, and it gets a tremendous amount of bite. I had a buddy of mine from Middletown, or I call him Mr. Henschel, but he ran that car down in Florida at, I believe it was Alltech, and didn't do great, but just got into an accident a little bit. The car never got bent up, but you know, just you get a flat in a heat race, it's over. And he said it felt really different than when you run like a normal standard Bicknell, like if you bought a 2021 or now 2022s. The nose is not raised like it is on those. Like it's 1.5 inches on those. This is 3 inch, like I said before. And I guess the bite is different. I've never understood it. Bicknell made that thing a while ago, back when they were testing around, trying to understand a little bit more about how they can make the chassis in different styles. But now they're just stuck on just the basic 2022s. You can get remakes of prior chassis, years, I believe. Never done it. I don't know someone who's done it, but Sportsman's, when I ran them, happened to be really good for me. And between the years of 2013 and 2016, those chassis were really good for Sportsman, and I've never had a problem with them. I think it was mainly how just the bars acted on them, but it's all about how they weld them together. Like every chassis is going to be welded differently. You know, some guys could just weld it like 1/8 of an inch out, you know, something small, but it's not bent. It's just how they welded it, and that could most likely affect the entire chassis movement. But it also depends where that rail would be. If it's like somewhere's back here, then it's not going to matter, because like right here is just where the bumper goes in. I'm talking about like something like down here by the 2x4. But for me, it's a lot of learning. There's a lot of physics involved in this racing, but you definitely cannot learn that at school. But especially for the type of racing we all do, it's something totally different. Other than that, I think my buddy of mine who drives this blue car behind me wants to buy Penske's along with me, so he might be selling his aluminum body Fox shocks. They're big body. I have one just like his here. They're all the same. He's got 2 new ones. I mean, these ones aren't, you know, like beat up. The shafts are straight. The eyes aren't bent. They all get them bolted every week on the eye, and we keep them clean. They all just need like a revalve. I mean, they're valved for coils, but I always like to have it double checked after the off season comes in. So if you're interested in anything, you come and let me know. I'll be happy to help you. If it's just like a basic question, you want something powder coat, you can let me know. I can just sandblast, and you can bring it to somebody else to powder coat. Obviously, it's my preference because I'd like to powder coat it so I can learn from it, and I can just prep it for you. If it's something you want prepped and you want to do it and take it home, that's fine. I love learning more about how this powder coat sticks, and how if you actually spray it on horizontally then vertically, you get a different look than when you just spray it on horizontally. And there's so much to learn about that, because all these different hand techniques all change on how it looks when you're done. And I also want to understand more about clear coats and glow coats. Like, they make this really cool glow coat, but it can't be, I've discovered if you do it on, like, I have a color called Racing Red. I don't think I have a part near me that I can show you. Actually, I do. Hold on. So, like, this is something we did. This is Racing Red. If you put glow coat on Racing Red, I love Racing Red. I always thought it looked really cool. It's like a really, really bright metallic red, but it's dark. That's the problem. You put glow coat over it, it won't show the glow. Like if we put it on a white or an orange, I bet you if we did it on my friend's blue, it'd probably pop out a little bit better, because the glow coat will never reveal. I don't know yet if it comes out the color you spray the part, you know what I mean? Like if you spray this part red, when you put the glow coat on and it glows in the dark, it's going to glow red. I don't know that yet. I want to learn about that because I feel like a lot of people think it's cool. Like we wanted to do body panels in the at a Super Dirt Week we didn't get to this year. We just really ran out of time with body panels, and then put stencils over them and then spray on the glow coat so then you could see the words in the glow coat. And I thought that was like really cool. I want to learn more like that because then people can come and bring me all kinds of like crazy ideas and we could try to work them out. But I need to understand myself a little bit more about how you do that. Other than that, we have like basic colors. Everyone always really likes flat black, but I have flat black on my exhaust mounts, and I'm shocked it hasn't burned at all because I didn't know. You know, you bake it at 400 degrees. Obviously, you think it could withstand it, but when the powder coat's dry, you know, you got to know how weak it's going to be. And I also think on how good you prep them is how it's going to come out. We sandblasted like a crazy amount out of these because these things were rusted to the bone a couple months ago when we had these done, and now they I'm surprised they're still withstanding. My powder coat always withstands based off of what I've learned with customers and testing with them and trying different colors and trying, you know, different thicknesses on the coat. I've learned that there's a lot of different ways that this powder coat can come off. Like we had problems with somebody's exhaust tips once, and I've been doing that. And a lot of people ask about that, and I didn't think that was really a crazy thing, but I guess it's like a trend now with all these guys with these crazy big exhausts, and they like these Cummins exhaust. I don't know, but I've learned a lot that people want all these like crazy parts done, and a couple of guys want them crazy colors. Like I have somebody that I believe is bringing in rims. He wants it like candy purple, and I was like, that's pretty oddball color. So I'm hoping I can learn a little bit about, you know, a little bit more about these colors. I am always fine with doing the basic colors, but anyone who wants to try anything crazy, and I'm more wanting to do the job for the lesson. I want to learn more about what my product will look like at the end of the day and how I can improve it, because I want everyone, you know, I don't want to be happy with my product. I want my customer. It's my job. I want my customer to love what I'm giving them. And feel free if there's ever a problem and you need I'm always willing to do recoats. If I need to re-prep it and recoat it, and let's say I gave it to you and you have it for a year and it chipped, bring it right back. I'm not going to charge you as much because I'm pleased that you came back to me and I can fix it, so then I can understand where it's chipping and how it's chipping. So I just need like the detail from you, like, all right, rocks were here, this is where I was driving it, this is when I was driving it, and I would just love to understand a little bit more about why it chipped, so then I can help and I can fix it. There's a guy, the same guy did the exhaust tips. We were testing around with some Cerakotes, and he had a diesel truck, and somehow the thing melted right off. So we tried something else. Turns out we learned that you have to heat it in the oven for 40 minutes in order, like preheat, not even bake it, preheat it in the oven for 40 minutes because it, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling like under the weather a little bit. You have to pre-bake it for 40 minutes in order to get all the elements out, because even the stuff, the metal will look clean, but it's not. There's still some minerals, I guess, in it, and all those minerals show up as fish eyes, and it just does not like please the customer at all. And if it doesn't show the fish eyes, it's likely to rip right off unless you do that process. We tried doing a quick job because the guy was asking last minute with like a blowtorch, and you heat it up until it gets to 230, and the elements from the blowtorch on the propane was shooting on it, and all those elements in the air were also spraying it to it. I know it sounds really stupid to explain it that way, but trust me, that's exactly what it's gonna do. It's just gonna fall right off. We did it the other way, the way you're supposed to do it, and came perfect. I felt bad. It took the customer 3 tries with us because we tried powder coating it. It fell off. We tried Cerakoting it the quick way because he needed it last minute. Fell off. Did it the right way. It came out good. So always remember, only do things one time, not 3 times. Because once you do it wrong one time, you have to do it over 3 times. You have to undo it, then redo it. something I learned from my dad. I think it's very true after the amount of jobs that I've done and understanding what it's like to lose money. And as a kid, you don't realize that when you put your parents in that predicament where you got to buy something expensive and your parents need it for something else. So I'm starting to understand a little bit myself about managing my money and where I should be putting it. But other than that, I'm going to show you guys the powder coating, enough chitter chatter, and I'll get you guys going.